Was Frank Borman, the thermodynamics teacher, who must therefore have surely known about bomb calorimeters, being honest when he told Congress and the Senate that none of them were truly aware of the hazard of pure oxygen?
I do not believe that Frank Borman was being completely honest when he made that statement. To tell the truth, I don't know why he made it. I think he would have been better off just admitting that they knew that the test was risky. Now, if people want to suffer through all your quote mining of the next 3 questions that have to do also with the Apollo 1 fire, then they can go ahead and watch your video. I'm just going to summarize all 3 of them in a couple of short statements. You have capitalized on the Apollo 1 fire in the same way that you exploited the Challenger explosion in order to elevate a fake moon missions theory into a murder conspiracy theory. Well, the bigger and juicier the conspiracy theory is, the more it inflates your ego, doesn't it? Apollo was an ambitious project. They were on a clock and a budget, and it was risky. There are many dangerous aspects to a space program, and when one results in the deaths of astronauts, I think it really stinks for people like you to come along and try to turn it into a murder conspiracy purely to fuel your paranoia and inflate your imponderable conceit. I hope that answers all 4 of your questions about the Apollo 1 fire.
What Astrobrand does not reveal in his video is the fact that Gus Grissom's son, Scott, shares Bill Casing's belief that his father was murdered in the Apollo 1 capsule. I asked Astrobrand if he thinks Scott is also repugnant, to which he replied, "Who gives a damn what he thinks? He's wrong, but at least he has a sincere motivation. It was his father, and he was angry about his loss. You don't have any such motivation. You're an offensive little troll who tries to promote himself by exploiting disasters. Like 9/11 too, right? I'm not surprised that one such as you would be totally unable to see the difference between you and Scott Grissom. He is sadly incorrect. You are egotistically self-serving, and yes, repugnant." So, he doesn't care what evidence Scott has found, because he'll just dismiss him as wrong. But he'll spare him all the slander because he is related to Gus. How revealing. Well, let me ask you something, Astrobrand. No doubt you have seen my full name. You and others like to call me by my first name, but rarely do you refer to me by my surname. That's cool. I rarely use my surname anyway, but I'm wondering if you've ever noticed any similarities between my surname and the surname of one of the fallen astronauts. Now suppose tomorrow you learned that there was a reason why our surnames are exactly the same. Would you suddenly call off your ammunition and say, "Oh, Jarrah White is just sadly incorrect and sincerely motivated by the loss of his great uncle"? Harrison Storms, Charlie Felts, and Toby Friedman of North American Aviation claimed they never signed on for using pure oxygen at 16 psi in the Apollo 1 capsule and thought NASA was doing the test at only 5 psi. Do you believe them? North American aviation engineer Frank Handel stated in 1964 that pure oxygen presents a fire risk, which is especially great on the launch pad when the cabin is purged with oxygen at 14.7 psi. Did Storms, Felts, and Friedman also know this? NASA compiled a report in 1964 that documented past oxygen fires at Philadelphia Navy Air Station and Brooks Air Force Base. Tests that resulted in serious fires in which people were burned critically. Did NASA truly not know the Apollo 1 plugs-out test was going to be hazardous when their own report stated that these pre-Apollo 1 fires illustrate in concrete fashion the potential dangers of 100% oxygen atmospheres? Jet Propulsion Lab's Dr. Q Zheng has stated that he believes the Chinese spacewalk videos were filmed in a swimming pool on Earth. Don't you agree that as a Jet Propulsion Lab engineer, he is an authority on this subject?
Again, I could go try to dig up a lot of information on this guy, but I won't. Whatever qualifications Dr. Zheng may have, analysis of space videos is definitely not one of them. The claims made by Dr. Zheng and other hoaxers have been easily debunked. And I'm sure this is going to have a negative impact on his career. I'm also certain that JPL is not particularly happy with him. Not because he voiced a contrary opinion, but because his arguments were unworthy of his professional and academic status.